I'm Dave Abrams.
And I'm Kristin. Welcome to a snowy edition of Week in Review. In this episode, we'll talk to some great volunteers at Anne Arundel Medical Center and preview Black History Month. But first, making headlines this week. We're officially on Snow Watch, Dave, yay! And hopefully you out there, you're prepared for our first dose of the white stuff in 2016. I like that. The white stuff.
You got the white stuff, baby.
That kiss was a blast. Oh, white stuff. Oh, oh, oh.
Oh no, it's not that
song. Some more snow. Oh,
wow.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Wow, special.
We hope that everyone is planning to stay inside and warm this weekend, that you have enough of your toilet paper and milk by now, and that everyone stays safe. We want to suggest a few Facebook pages that will keep you informed throughout the storm. First, search Arundel OEM and like the Office of Emergency Management. Next, search My Anne Arundel and like the county's page. And last but not least, search Arundel Public Works and like DPW's page. In just 3 easy moves, you will be the biggest snow expert on your block.
And you could like the recycling division as well.
Oh, hey.
And that way you'll know if any of the trash collection is affected.
Yeah, if we have
trash
to
and
cancel
recycling
collections, and we'll give you updates on what you need to do with your material. So
knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Here are some good snow safety tips. You want to check on elderly neighbors to make sure that they have heat, food, etc. Dress warmly if you head out, and make sure the kids don't stay out too long. And always make sure to tuck your pants into your boots, and you tuck your gloves into, because that stuff will seep right in and you'll just freeze.
Wow, you obviously feel very strongly about this.
I'm a snow expert, I know.
Okay.
I know, I had some bad mishaps as a kid trying to make some snow igloos. I know how to stay dry.
You had the old snow down the pants?
Oh, it's the worst.
I hate that.
Make sure you tuck your layers, folks. Be sure to stay hydrated if you're outside, especially if you are shoveling. Keep a cell phone on you and make sure your vehicles have gas. I got my gas. Did you get your gas?
I did. I'm filled up.
I love Safeway. You know, you shop at Safeway and then you get so much off of your gas per gallon.
I believe there's other food providers that have similar
I don't know of any
arrangements.
Besides, oh wait, Giant and
Yep.
Shell, and Safeway has their own gas stations. They used to have Exxon, but now it's Plenty.
But it doesn't matter where you get your gas,
Get your
just
gas.
make sure that there's gas in your car. That's important.
Move vehicles off the street as possible to make room for plows. And here is a clip of Alex Bacquier, who was on the show recently from the Bureau of Highways, talking about how we are prepared.
Well, we typically start our planning cycle as early as August or July. And we go through a standard cycle of making sure that really 4 areas are taken care of. We're thinking about our materials, our equipment, staffing, and contracts for snow removal contractors. So at this stage of the game, coming into early December, we're pretty much just finalizing the details on those 4 areas. Our salt barns are being topped up. We have 20,000 gallons of brine on hand. Our staffing recruitment process is complete, and we've got 300 folks that are ready to step into their positions and their roles.
300?
That's about what it takes just at the district maintenance yards to run a 24-hour operation during snow removal. Plus you have additional folks that are at our operations center. We may open up a call center, and that would be another group. So it takes a lot of folks. It's a big team effort.
Now, in case anyone forgot, we made our own snowfall predictions a month ago, and I'm looking pretty good right now, Dave.
That's a matter of the beholder.
Chuck, roll that clip.
I think we should officially go on the record and make our predictions for the year for total snowfall.
Oh, snowfall.
Total snowfall.
Total?
Okay. Total snowfall for the season, yes. Total.
Okay.
How about we'll do total and we'll do biggest one-time event.
Biggest one-time event. Okay.
And who should I go first?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
Is this like Price is Right?
Like if you go over, you're out.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to do Price is Right rules.
Got it.
Oh, so you can do 1 inch if I. Oh, okay.
But go first. By all
Ooh,
means.
now it's harder. Okay. The pressure's on. Yeah. I'm gonna go for. I should have looked this up so I could cheat. I'm gonna go for 25 inches total.
Okay.
And biggest event, I say we're gonna have a good one, and I'm gonna go with 13 inches.
Okay.
Those are pretty high. I
thought higher than you.
Okay.
Because
good.
I am a snow enthusiast and I want to see it.
Do you know what the numbers are?
I don't know what the numbers are.
Right. Go ahead.
I'm saying overall 32.
32.
32. And biggest one-time event, snowfall, 18 inches.
Whoa!
So for those of you keeping score at home, as soon as we cross 13 inches this weekend, I win. I win! As soon as we cross 32 inches for the year, I also win. But really, I always win.
Wow. Yeah, it's looking tough for me, but
Yeah.
you just never know what's going to happen.
What are the terms?
It's
Probably a burrito, knowing the show.
I thought it was a burrito.
Was it a
It
burrito?
might have been a burrito.
I want to up the ante. Is it
Okay.
too late?
Well, yeah, of course you want to up the ante now that there's this storm coming. You feel like you're gonna win. I'm still feeling okay. You never
I
know.
get to decide your week in review attire.
Rain snow line could
Once I
move. And I could be sitting pretty. So we'll see. Okay,
All right,
we'll
all right.
see. I mean, that's the big question. Will we have another Snowmageddon? Is Snowmageddon coming again already right out of the gate?
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
That's what we
Man, I
get.
love
That's what we
snow.
get for it being so nice and warm for November and December. Wait till March.
Yeah.
Watch. In March, we are going to be complaining because
Yep.
it is going to be windy, cold, and snowing
But
in
right
March.
now,
Watch.
I'm loving it.
You
loving
heard it. You heard it here first, kids. It's going to be bad in March.
Loving it.
Well, Kristin, while you have snow on the brain,
Always.
I'm going to take us back to the news for a moment.
Okay.
This week, the Anne Arundel County Council voted 6-1 to enact the biggest fee cut in county history. That's right, folks. In 1 year now, we have had the biggest tax cut in history and now the biggest fee cut. The bill the council passed was introduced by County Executive Steve Shue. It reduces water and sewer connection charges by 30% and sets a policy that will keep the fund used to maintain and improve the system solvent for decades to come. The reduction will put about $125 million back into the economy over the next 3 years. The legislation eliminates deferral and restocking fees, reduces interest rates, and streamlines the process of testing new developments for effects on roads and schools. We caught up with Shue, and here's what he had to say about the bill.
Well, taxes and fees are among our top priorities, reducing them to make it easier to live and work in Anne Arundel County. We are going to continue to work each and every day to identify opportunities to reduce taxes and fees in this county. We currently have underway a fee study of the hundreds of fees that are currently in place in Anne Arundel County and are trying to identify those that make sense and those that don't. The ones that don't, we're going to eliminate them. We want to get out of the business of nickel and diming the citizens of this county.
2 big tax and fee cuts in 1 year, Kristin. That is not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby, I say. Well, snow or no snow, the General Assembly session show is a full go. You like a little rhyme game?
Whoa!
Woo!
That was
Dr.
good.
Seuss in the house.
Wow,
Yeah.
you should try that again, maybe.
Okay. Snow or no snow, the General Assembly session show is a full go.
Woo!
Yo.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah. You can get all of your updates here on Arundel TV. You can watch the first episode of Public Affairs Now by heading over to YouTube or Facebook, of course. The first episode of 2016 features Delegate Ted Sophocles, chairman of the Anne Arundel County Delegation. Delegate Sophocles and reporter Len Lazarick will give you a primer on exactly what all the hot topics will be this year in state government. This week, the county delegation also heard from County Executive Shue, County Councilman Derek Fink, and Annapolis Mayor Pantelides. We'll have that online for you before you know it.
And next week, the chairman of the council, Derek Fink, will be our guest on the show. So we'll be able to interrogate him about everything he's been doing for the last year on the council.
News hard
Pretty
and
good
fast.
though. Pretty
Yes,
good.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
they're getting a lot done. And now we start the legislative session, and there's already been a little bit of back and forth going on. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We talked last week about you never quite know how it's going to go. And last year, I think Governor Hogan got a little bit of a honeymoon, so to speak. People disagree on how bad it was or how good it was. And supposedly the second year a governor is in office is his most productive year. So it's going to be interesting. I think we're seeing some signs that the Democrats in the legislature are ready to take Hogan on and try and take him down a notch because he's got these sky high
ratings.
approval
Yes,
ratings,
absolutely.
and he's really had some high-profile victories. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk to Miss Yevola Peters about Black History Month. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. Next month, of course, is Black History Month, and there are all kinds of events all over the county going on. And we have a special guest on the show to tell us a little bit about that, Miss Yevola Peters, who is a special assistant to the county executive for Human Relations. Ms. Peters, thank you for being on the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Ms. Peters, can you tell us a bit about your position with what you do for the county?
Well, I technically serve as the Human Relations Officer for the county, and that includes, of course, working with minority issues, as well as taking complaints that people feel they've been discriminated against, investigating, doing conflict resolution, mediation. Really, human relations mean just getting people to work together.
I like that. And we were discussing off camera that you're originally from South Carolina?
Yes.
And then when did you move to Anne Arundel?
Well, I came to Morgan State, it was Morgan State College in Baltimore, in '53, met my husband who's from New York. Well, my to-be husband then, of course.
College sweetheart.
Yes, yes, yes. And we settled in Centerville, Maryland. So we were in Centerville for 5 years. He was a music teacher and I was a music teacher. Both of us taught. I taught in Kent County, he taught in Queen Anne's County, and then decided to move to Anne Arundel. And actually, the reason we moved to Anne Arundel County was because we had my first son, and when he reached 5, we were looking for a preschool program, and of course it was segregated at that time, and so the only preschool program in Centerville did not accept blacks. So I said, I didn't come up here to fight the Civil War again, so I went back to South Carolina to do some
Plus, you didn't
work.
have your musket with you.
And he called me and said, guess what? We moved to Annapolis. And so when he came to pick me up from South Carolina, that's where we ended up, in Annapolis. And that was in 1963.
And I have to ask, because you mentioned it, and because I'm such a music nerd. Now, do you or your husband play an instrument, or what did you teach?
Well, I taught instrumental music and general music. I played piano, because I was going to be a concert pianist, but
I played piano too.
Oh,
we're
good.
piano sisters.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. And so I taught in Anne Arundel County. I taught in Kent County, Howard County, and then my last stint of teaching was in Anne Arundel County. And in 1969, I then became the Youth Development Director for Community Action Agency. And in '74, became acting executive director and was the executive director for the Community Action Agency until 1991, when I retired the first time. Went back to the agency in 2001, and then finally ended 2005.
My goodness.
No one will ever let you leave. Now, Miss Yevola, we've known each other for many, many years, and one of my favorite things to do is pick your brain about historical events in Annapolis that I was not here for and that I know very little about. You know, if I want to know about, you know, Pitt Moyer and Zastro Sims or Carl Snowden or Vince Leggett, these people who we know very well now, you knew them, you know, when they were just getting started in life and finding their ways. What do you think? What do you think about Black History means to you, Black History Month means to you now compared to so many years ago? Obviously, when you came here, you're saying that Annapolis was better than the Eastern Shore, but still had a long way to go, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the whole purpose of Black History Month is to highlight the accomplishments and the achievements of blacks. And, you know, of course, people ask, well, why do you need to highlight that? Well, you know, recognizing that in the settlement of the United States, this was the first time in civilization that slavery was based on race. And that was really where racism started. So from the 17th to the 19th centuries, you know, during the time of slavery and even after slavery, there was very little written in history books about the accomplishments and achievements of even the continent Africa, of what, you know, the civilization that took place there, and as well as persons who were descendants from Africans, what kind of accomplishments, achievement. The only thing in the history books was written was about slavery. And so the whole purpose of having African American Month was to really help people to understand what some of the achievements and the accomplishments of African Americans were. So in 1926, Carter, the person who actually started the Black History, it started with really Black History Week. And then from there, it went to Black History Month.
In 1926, did you say?
1926 was the first time that we started with, it was really called Black History Week. Well, it was called really Negro History Week because in the earlier times, you know, we were all called Negroes. And then, of course, as time came about and as the civil rights movement came, then, of course, we changed to Black history rather than Negro history.
I have to ask too, especially going back to when you were a teacher, because there's been so many accomplishments by blacks through music. With Black History Month, did you ever take that opportunity with your classes to bring up some of the accomplishments that had occurred in music class?
Well, yes. In fact, even though, I'm trying to think, when I started teaching, of course, we used to do a lot of music, of course, that were from Black musicians, as well as all musicians. But it was during the 60s because even though the integration of schools started after 1954, when the Brown versus Board of Education, integration really in Maryland, in Anne Arundel County, didn't take place until around, I think it was 66 or 6, yeah, it was about 66, because, and the reason I should remember that is because when I first came to Anne Arundel County in 63, I couldn't teach at any of the white schools, as they were called, because of the segregation. And that was, I can remember applying to teach music at Rolling Knolls and was denied. But then in 66, when I reapplied to the school system again, I remember getting a call from the personnel at the Board of Education saying that they had an opening at Overlook and Linthicum Elementary School, and would I be willing to teach white students? And so I said, are they human? And so that's where I started teaching Linthicum and Overlook. In fact, I think I was probably the first Black teacher at the two elementary schools because they were in the process of integrating at that time. And then, of course, you know, gradually as things, I ended up my teaching at Corcoran. It was called Corcoran Junior High then. And of course, so I got an opportunity to really, foster music and have people to understand all of the various kinds of music and styles, including, of course, music that was developed and composed by Black musicians. So it was exciting.
It's incredible.
So let's say that somebody wants to get involved in some of the activities that are planned for the month of February. Anything stand out to you?
Well, the first thing I would encourage people is to get to know the Banneker Douglas Museum at
good one, yes.
84 Franklin Street, because that
In Annapolis.
Yes, it's right in Annapolis. It's in Anne Arundel County, and it is the state's museum for African American life and history.
Yep.
And so there are a number of things that are happening there. And then the community college will be having an art exhibit that is exciting for all of that month. It will be about the civil rights movement. And so that will be, and then there'll be some other activities. I think that you're going to post or
Yeah, we'll
there'll
have on the
be-
community calendar.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But the community college, I'm very impressed with what is happening at the community college and all of the various activities. So I would encourage people to look at the schedule of things that are happening and participate. And then there'll be a lot of things that are happening in local, at churches. There are always various things that are being featured at various churches in the community in order to celebrate Black History Month. And usually in the school system, a lot of attention is taken,
Right.
is given to that, to have activities. So it's a good time to be able to really highlight and to emphasize that all people in America have contributed to the development of this country. And Black history is one of the times that we can then feature the things that African Americans have done.
Well, I asked you earlier on, how your view of this celebration has changed over time. And one thing that struck me was one of the events they're having at the community colleges, they're going to do a demonstration of a sit-in. And I thought, you know what they say, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
And I mean, what do kids know these days about a sit-in? And what that
Yeah.
meant, and how scary that had to be, and how much courage it took for people to do that. Going from Rosa Parks on the bus to so many other people who had the courage to stage these sit-ins.
Yes. The various
Now they have a hashtag or something. They tweet about it, and they're like, "Oh, I solved the problem."
Right. I wore a T-shirt and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the civil rights movement, precipitated a number of kinds of civil disobedience and actions that took place that made change. I thought it was really interesting. One of the elementary schools had I read in the paper that they had their march about having physical ed doing short days, when days are shorter, that they were recess, to be able to have recess.
Oh.
And that they actually was protesting. They
Yes.
had their little signs and they were marching.
We want recess.
Hey,
Recess is important.
And they studied the life of Martin Luther King and learned about the civil rights movement,
Right.
and then did this little protest. So that was understanding that whole civil rights and what happened and how people did, protested in a peaceful manner.
Yeah.
So, so I think
It's really
those-
what this country's all about.
Yes.
It really
yes.
is.
And one of the things that I'm excited about what I do with human relations, of course, having to do with promoting diversity, because we don't have to agree with each other. But the point is that we can respect each other. So as we hear our differences and we're able to talk through our differences, then that's what diversity is all about. And the whole idea, again, of Black history is to be able to highlight the diversity in this country.
Well, folks, there you have it. We could easily talk to Yevola Peters for
All
hours
day.
and hours
All day.
about these topics and more. Thank you so much for giving us
Yes.
the time to be on the show, and hopefully we could have you on again soon.
Yes.
Carter Woodson.
Carter Woodson. Got
That's
it.
the historian who
defi-
started Black History.
There we
Carter
go.
Woodson.
And definitely Banneker Douglas Museum is a great suggestion. I've been there, and it's a fabulous museum. We're going to take a really quick break, and we will be right back with more Week in Review.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Welcome back. We always like to let you know about volunteer opportunities, and Michelle Corkadel has a great one for you at Anne Arundel County Medical Center. Michelle?
I'm here at Anne Arundel Medical Center this morning, where expansion continues as our medical needs grow out in the community. And with that need growing, so does the need for more volunteers here at Anne Arundel Medical Center. I have the pleasure of being here with Sherry Morissette and one of her volunteers, Ed Blakely. Sherry runs the auxiliary volunteer program here at Anne Arundel Medical Center. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about your program?
Sure. Our auxiliary here at the hospital is one of the biggest in Maryland, with over 600 volunteers who support the hospital in various ways. We have three main parts of our mission. The first is basically helping the staff and the community here as an inpatient at the hospital or outpatient. We also work with volunteer efforts to raise funds for the hospital. We have gift shops, we have a thrift store, and we also go out into the community. We're at different areas of the hospital complex, like the Kent Island facility, Odenton, and Stanton Center. So we do a lot of extra work for the hospital that saves them the having to have more staff on board. So we do really save the hospital a lot.
So essentially, not just through volunteerism, but also those volunteers supporting the program efforts and the fundraising efforts that you provide, because we do reach out to many people in the community through your outreach and education programs. Is that not correct?
That's correct. We are also extended over to the Eastern Shore. A lot of our programs are helping families become more active as far as taking care of diabetes, taking care of some of their other medical conditions. So we have a lot of training programs that we support out in the community. We also are helping new moms with post and pre-op, taking care of themselves in order to make sure that they have healthy babies. We also do a lot of extra work as far as helping the community with special needs, things that they may need as far as assisted living and things like that. We try to work with our community. So
That's great. So it seems like there's a lot of opportunities here for many volunteers. Ed, what are some of the things that you do for the hospital?
Well, I work at a place called the Joint Camp, and what that is, where patients who have had either a hip or a knee replaced, they spend about 2 days or 3 days maybe here at the hospital, and twice a day we move all those patients into one big room, and the therapists work with them, and it's kind of fun because they become, they have others to share their experiences with, and it's like a family gathering. I mean, it's quite a lot of fun. I work with the therapist. I wheel the patients down into this room, give them the weights and the things they need to do their business with helping the patients, and then wheel them back to the room. So there's a patient interaction with me that I really enjoy.
Well, it sounds like our volunteers are the heartbeat of this operation, to say the least. How can someone become a volunteer or get involved in some of your programs, Sherry?
well, all they need to do is to look at the website for the hospital, ahs.gov, and also or .org, and also calling our office at 443-481-5050 and schedule a volunteer information session visit. At those visits, we usually go through all the different activities that we have as far as being a volunteer, the types of work that's involved, whether it's physical work or whether it's work that they are with family or parts of the patients if they want to do gift shops. We have all kinds of different activities that they can get involved in that help the hospital.
And Sherry, that website and telephone number again is?
aahs.org and 443-481-5050.
And who should they ask for, Sherry?
When they call the office, they'll get the auxiliary secretary, and all they need to do is to let the secretary know that they're interested in volunteering and they would like to be scheduled for a volunteer information session.
It sounds like something everyone can help support. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Michelle. Once again, you can find out more about volunteering with the auxiliary by calling 443-481-5050. You can also go to our YouTube page to watch a promotional video about the program.
So Kristin,
So Dave,
welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It's odd that you were off from the show last week and you come back with bronchitis.
I know. Okay, let's talk about this. There's an epidemic right now, especially according to my doctor, because I went to the doctor, and he's just saying there are so many people right now that have a cough that will not go away, mostly bronchitis out there.
It's true, and because I'm a trendsetter,
Yeah.
I had it in November.
Oh, okay.
For like the whole month of November. It was terrible.
Okay, well, my sister's a school teacher, and I know she got it probably from school. She came home with it when we all got together for Christmas, and now I've got it. My dad has it. It's nuts. And everyone I talk to is either they have a cough that won't quit or know someone that has a cough.
I'm not even
that won't
scared
quit.
right now.
Well, you already had it, so.
I'm not scared.
I'm not scared. Just making sure if you're out there that you're taking good care of yourself and
That's the
washing your
thing. I mean,
hands,
are you
and
doing that?
I'm trying.
Everybody here is a little concerned right now that, how would you get bronchitis? What's going on?
Well, I think it was passed to
Everything
me by my
okay?
sister on Christmas.
Oh.
That's why. I think someone
Okay.
gave it to me that thought that, it's not contagious, I'll go to Christmas.
Well, since you're going to be better this weekend and it sounds like you're going to have some time on your hands.
I know, I am.
Let's talk about snow movie watching.
Oh, yes, because, okay, what kinds of things do you like doing when you're snowed in? A lot of people like watching movies. If power doesn't go out, which it won't.
Oh, God, please, no.
Yeah, so
no.
it's all about catching up on maybe some series on Netflix or some movies. But you're right, there's some great franchises out there, and I'm always getting picked on because I haven't seen some of the classics.
You have so far to go. I don't even know where to start.
Exist out there. So we know I just got through the Star Wars series.
Right.
So yeah,
and now you're like the biggest Star Wars
nerd.
freak. I can't even believe it.
I
It's like
love Star
constant.
Wars. I want to go see the new one again. But yeah, let's talk about some of the other film franchises that are hot.
Okay.
Classics.
Well,
I haven't seen.
I am very excited by the apparently newly released
Extended.
7.5 hour Godfather 1 and
Yes.
2 with never before seen footage.
Right.
Now, I will note, you probably don't know this because you're still kind of easing into your movie
And
knowledge.
I haven't seen Godfather.
Well, Apocalypse Now.
right now.
Have you ever seen Apocalypse Now?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. Apocalypse Now is a Coppola film with Marlon Brando.
Okay.
So it's got that whole Godfather kind of thing going on. This movie was huge, and it's such a good movie. And at some point, I think it was Showtime, they released an extended version of that with deleted scenes. And it was really cool. Now, I will say, the movie was so long after you watch all that. But when it's snowing out, you got nothing else to do. You can push pause and go to the bathroom and get your popcorn and
That's
make your
right.
soup and do all that. So I would like to recommend, I know what I will be doing. I will be
doing
watching The
Extended
Godfather.
which is
Yes.
HBO, or if you have HBO Go,
That's right.
you can do that.
So I'll be watching it on demand whenever I feel like it. I'll be watching the extended 7.5 hour long Godfather. And you really don't need Godfather 3 anyway, so
See, and
it's
these are
perfect.
things I don't know. Like when people were like, "Oh, you don't need to watch Star Wars episodes 1 through 3."
Right.
And I was
And
like,
how did you
why?
do it?
We did it's called the machete order.
Machete.
Machete. So essentially you learn about the battle that's going on, good versus evil, and you do that with A New Hope. And then you go into 5, and then you go back to 2 and 3, learn more about Darth Vader once you learn he's Luke's father. So you learn more about Anakin Skywalker, and then you come back with 6 and finish it up with 7.
That is so complicated.
But it made sense the way we watched it. It made sense to me to get the backstory after I learned about the conflict at hand.
Well, there are hiccups along the way, and we off camera we talked about some of the big ones that Kristin has not seen any of these.
And if you want to chime in with some suggestions for me, feel free to visit our Facebook page, Arundel TV.
Please post under the show.
Yeah.
But so we talked about Die Hard, and
Die Hard
we
I've
asked our
seen.
consultant Cisco Davis here, who is an expert on this, and he corrected me that it's not Die Hard 3, it's Die Hard 2 that's bad. So you have to skip, you have to go 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Okay. Back to the Future, I think we all agree.
Seen Back to the Future,
you gotta do 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
some people don't like
okay.
3, some people don't like 2. I liked all 3.
I've only seen 1 Indiana Jones, I've never seen all of them.
Indiana Jones 1 through 3, 4 I didn't like it.
Okay.
Rocky.
Oh, Rocky.
1, 2, 3.
Rocky. So it's a lot of 1, 2, 3s.
Most of them 1, 2, 3.
And then we're done.
Right.
Like it
but you
starts
got to
getting a
skip
little-
Die Hard 2.
All right.
Some would say you got to skip a couple Star Wars films in there. Like, what is it, 8?
Okay.
Or no?
No.
What is
1.
it?
Episode 1, Star Wars.
Episode 1.
Episode
God,
Star.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
when it's a young Anakin.
Also known
But
as
what
the Jar
about-
Jar Binks
Yeah,
episode.
everyone hates Jar Jar
You
Binks. I
can't
get
do
it
that.
now. What about Alien? Because I've never seen Alien, and then it gets into Alien versus Predator, and
Depends if you're into the sci-fi thriller horror kind of deal.
Okay.
It's pretty gross. Well, and it might not
I'm
even
a
be gross
baby.
anymore. Yeah.
No, I don't
know
watch
if
scary
you're gonna
stuff,
like
so I
Alien.
probably won't do that. But yeah, and you know what? I would really like to sit down and watch some more older films. Like I've seen
Classic old
I've seen
films,
like
black
Gone
and
with the
white.
Wind and Singing in the Rain, but maybe like Some Like It Hot or Gentlemen Prefer Blondes or some of the older Bond films.
And of course, me being me, I always go for the longest, most drawn-out movie. Like, what about Citizen Kane? It's supposed to be the greatest movie of all time.
I've seen Lawrence of Arabia.
That's a good one.
I've seen that.
So how about maybe Citizen Kane?
All right, maybe I can do that.
How about some Alfred Hitchcock?
Ooh.
Birds.
Some mystery.
I have not seen Birds in its entirety, but most people I know who have seen it are totally freaked out by it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really good
There's
classics out there. So if you have any favorites and you think I need to see them, or Dave, if Dave hasn't seen them, we'd love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, there's a couple movies I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to go the Netflix
Let
route.
me tell you about a little classic called Spice World.
Oh yeah.
Featuring Baby, Scary, Sexy Spice, Ginger Spice, and Sporty Spice.
Also known as the Mount Rushmore of pop music.
The Mount Rushmore of pop music. Now
Except
that
there's 5 of them.
is a film classic, my friend.
That's a good movie. I gotta confess, I've watched that movie
See,
more
it's a great movie.
more than once.
It's hilarious.
Well, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archive episodes online anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or Google Plus by simply searching Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.